Dear students, how are you? Today I come to discuss with you about some creative question of chapter 3, first paper, periodic properties and chemical bond. I think all of you will clear about this creative question. Students, you know this chapter is full of some important topics. They are hybridization, bonding, then ionization energy, electron affinity and a transition element, properties of transition element and several characteristics of different element. Now, today I discuss with you creative question on some topics like ionization energy, electron affinity, Fuzan's rule, this time. Let's start the class. Students, I have written here one creative question. Look here, it is denoted group and it is denoted period. Group is 1, 2, 14, 17 and period is 2 and 3. Period is 2 and 3. Here P, Q, R, Y, X. Students, you must remind to know the answer about the question. First of all, you must clear about the element which are present in the stem. So, we started to identify the element which is present in this creative question. Look at here. Here, P is present in third period and group 1. That means it must be sodium. Now come to Q. Q is present in third period and second group. So, it must be magnesium. Now come to R. It is present in group 14, period 3. That means it is silicon. Now come to last one. Here, X is present in group 17, period 2. That means it is fluorine. So, Y is present in third period, group 17. That means after fluorine, you know chlorine is present here. So, we identify every element which are present in our periodic table. Now, let's start the question. Between X and Y, which one has the highest electron affinity? You have seen as X and Y here, fluorine and chlorine are present. So, the question is between fluorine and chlorine, which one has highest electron affinity? Come to question number D. Analyze the nature of the compound which are formed when Y separately joined with PQR. That means when Y joined with PQR, the compound will be, when Y joined with P, then it will be sodium chloride. When Y joined with Q, then it will be magnesium chloride. When Y joined with R, then it will be silicon tetrachloride. So, you must discuss the nature of these three compounds. So, let's start the question. Question number C. So, our question is between X and Y, which one has the highest electron affinity? To answer this question, first of all, you must know about electron affinity. What is electron affinity? The students, what is electron affinity? The energy that is released by 1 mole gaseous atom when it converts to 1 mole negative ion by receiving 1 mole electron is known as electron affinity. That means electron affinity is the energy released by 1 mole gaseous atom to convert when it wants to convert to negative ion. To answer this question, you must know about the electronic configuration of fluorine and chlorine. The electronic configuration of fluorine is, you have seen that it is present in group 17, period 2. Its atomic number is 9. So, its electronic configuration is 1:2, 2:2, 2p5. That means last shell of chlorine is second shell. And in second shell, you have seen how many electrons are present here? Here, 7 electrons are present. Look at chlorine. it is chlorine. Chlorine, the atomic number is 17. So it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. That means here also last shell is third shell and here also 7 electrons are present. But as last shell of fluorine is second shell, so its size is smaller than chlorine. But the number of electrons which is present in the outermost shell of fluorine and chlorine are same. That's why the electron density in fluorine, in the outermost shell of fluorine, is more than chlorine. So when chlorine attracts the electron of another atom, then there will be a repulsion occur, as there is second shell and the density of electron is more than is more in fluorine than in chlorine. But this type of repulsion will not occur in chlorine, as here the density of electron is less than fluorine. That's why chlorine easily attracts electron from another atom than fluorine. That's why the electron affinity of fluorine is less than chlorine. So I repeat again the total answer of the question. I have told that in fluorine the last shell is second shell, but in chlorine last shell is third shell. In the last shell of fluorine there are 7 electrons are present, but in chlorine there is also 7 electrons are present. As fluorine last shell is second shell, so the density of electron in fluorine is more than chlorine. That's why when fluorine attracts electron from another atom, then a repulsion is occur. But this type of repulsion is not occur in chlorine. That's why the electron affinity of chlorine is more than fluorine. That means Cl between X and Y, the electron affinity of Y is more than X. Now start the second question. So students, we start our second question. Here, analyze the nature of the compound which are formed when Y separately joined with PQR. So we identified that here our compound is Y is chlorine. When it joined with P, that means sodium, then the compound is sodium chloride. When it joined with Q, that means magnesium, then the compound is magnesium chloride. When it joined with R, that means silicon, then the compound is silicon tetrachloride. So we discuss the nature of the compounds. You know, when there are same type of anions are present, just look at here, anions are same but cation are different, then to discuss the nature of the compound, to take the help of Fajans rule. Now what is Fajans rule? In Fajans rule, there is told that if the size of cation is small, if the size of anion is large, if the charge density of cation or anion are more, and if in the electronic configuration of cation D and F orbital are used, then the compound will be more covalent. Repeat again. So here our tag point is if the size of cation is small, if the size of anion is large, if the electron charge density of cation or anion is more, then the compound will be more covalent. So students, let's start. Here we have seen that our cations are sodium, magnesium and silicon. So we write separately our cations. They are sodium, magnesium and silicon. First of all, we discuss about the size. You have seen sodium, magnesium, silicon. They are present, sodium present on the left side and silicon is present on the right side. According to the periodic properties, you come to know that when you go left to right of a period, then the size is decreased. Why the size is decreased? Because when you go left to right of a period, then in the center of atom, proton is increased, and in the outermost shell of atom, electron is increased. That is, the attraction between the electron of outermost shell and the proton of a nucleus will increase. So the size will decrease when you go left to right of a period. That's why between sodium, magnesium and silicon, sodium present on the left side, that means its size will be more than magnesium and silicon. So what will be the order of size? The order of size will be sodium is greater than magnesium is greater than silicon. Right? Because sodium present on the left side and silicon present on the right side. So the order of size is sodium is greater than magnesium is greater than silicon. Now come to charge density. You have seen that here +1, +2, +4. That means the charge density of silicon is more than sodium and magnesium. So from our above discussion, we can tell that covalent character will be more in silicon tetrachloride than magnesium chloride than sodium chloride. That means if we think about vice versa, that means ionic character. So ionic character will be more in sodium chloride than magnesium chloride than silicon tetrachloride. This is the nature of the compounds. So I repeat again. First of all, here when Y separately joined with PQR, then the compounds are sodium chloride, magnesium chloride and silicon tetrachloride. Among these compounds, the cations are different. They are sodium ion, magnesium ion and silicon ion. Now, first of all, according to Fuson's rule, if the size of cation is small, then the compound will be more covalent. So the order of size is sodium is greater than magnesium is greater than silicon, because sodium is present on the left side and silicon is present on the right side. That's why the size of sodium is larger than another two. Second one is, if the charge density of cation is more, then the compound will be more covalent. Here you have seen in sodium +1, magnesium it is +2, silicon +4. That means the charge density of silicon is more than sodium and magnesium. So covalent character, from our above discussion, we come to a conclusion that the covalent character of silicon tetrachloride is more than magnesium chloride and sodium chloride. So covalent character is silicon tetrachloride is greater than magnesium chloride is greater than sodium chloride. Or on the other side, ionic character is more in sodium chloride than in magnesium chloride than in silicon tetrachloride. So this is the nature of the compound. You can tell that the covalent nature in silicon tetrachloride is more and the ionic nature in sodium chloride is more. So this is the answer of this creative question. Let's start another creative question. So students, we start our next creative question. This one is the next creative question. First of all, you have seen it denoted our group number. It is period. Then the question, but I told you in my previous question that first of all you must identify the element which are present in your stem. So you have seen it is 1A and group period, first period, group 1A, that means it is hydrogen. It is hydrogen. Now come to second period, group 1A, second period, group 1A. So it will be lithium. Now come to 2. Group 2A, second period, that means it is beryllium. Then come to group 3A, second period, it will be boron. Then it will be carbon, then nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. So our next segment is N. N is present in 4A, third period, that means it is silicon. And Q is present, group 6, third period, so it will be sulfur. And M is present, group 7A and third period, so it will be chlorine. So this is the identified of our element which is present in our stem. First of all, students, you must curious about this, that what is A or B. Actually, in our previous periodic table, the group are denoted by 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B. After that, the latest periodic table, group are identified by 1 to 18. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This way. Actually, these A are the group which are represented by our modern periodic table 1, 2, then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. And B are the represented the B represent that means 1B, 2B, 3B, 4B represent the transition element which are present between in our modern periodic table 3 to 12. So we identified our element. Now come to the question. Why the physical state of X2Z and X2Q are different? So which one is X2Z? That means X2Z. So it is H2O. So X2Z is H2O and X2Q. That means it is H2S. Now come to second question. Explain the change of ionization energy of the elements present in second period. That means second period, the change of ionization energy will be discussed. Third question. Are PM4 and NM4? PM4. That means PM4. So it is CCl4. And NM4, that means SiCl4, silicon tetrachloride, shows same type of reaction with water. Now students, let's start our answer of the question. So students, we start the answer of first question. Why the physical state of H2O and H2S are different? You know, between this oxygen and sulfur, oxygen is present in second period and sulfur is present in third period. When we go top to bottom of a period, then ionization energy is increased. But here between oxygen and sulfur, the electronegativity of element is decreased when we go top to bottom of a group. That means the electronegativity of oxygen is more than sulfur. As the electronegativity of oxygen is more than sulfur, so it attracts the bond electron to itself. So what happened here? This is the electron of hydrogen and this is the electron of oxygen. But as oxygen is electronegative, it attracts the bond electron to itself. So hydrogen will be partially positive and oxygen will be partially negative. That means polarity occur in H2O. For the presence of this polarity in H2O, it remains liquid at physical state at normal temperature. But the electronegativity of sulfur is not like oxygen. So there is no polar part occur in H2S. That's why it remains as gas at normal temperature. So from the discussion, we come to the conclusion that between H2 and H2S, the electronegativity of oxygen is more than sulfur. So it attracts the bond electron to itself. That's why in water, hydrogen is partially positive and oxygen is partially negative. For the presence of this polarity, it remains as liquid at normal temperature. But in H2S, no polar part is occur as the electronegativity of sulfur is less than oxygen. That's why H2S remains as gas at normal temperature. Now come to the answer of second question. So our second question is, explain the ionization energy of the element of second period. So students, we discuss our second question, that explain the ionization energy of the element present in second period. In our second period, the elements which are present, that is lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. To discuss about the ionization energy, first of all you must know about what is ionization energy. Ionization energy means the energy which is required to convert positive ion by 1 mole gaseous atom by releasing 1 mole electron is known as ionization energy. That means ionization energy means the energy which is required to release the electron. So you know, when you go left to right of a period, then the size between the atoms are decreased. When the size of the atoms are decreased, then the distance between nucleus and outermost shell is also increased. That time it is hardest for the atom to release the electron, because with the decrease of size, the distance is decreased and the attraction between nucleus and the outermost shell is increased. So it is hardest for the atom to release the electron. That's why when you go left to right of a period, then the size is decreased. As the size is decreased, then ionization energy will be increased. So the ionization energy will be like that. That's lithium is less than beryllium, is less than boron, is less than carbon, then nitrogen, then oxygen, then fluorine. Okay, but it is not correct. So what is the problem? The problem is the exception is occur between these two. Boron is greater than beryllium, then here carbon is oxygen, then it is nitrogen. So why this happened? Because just look at the electronic configuration. Beryllium boron, the outermost shell of beryllium is full-filled. You know, any orbital is stable as full-filled and half-filled state. As between beryllium and boron, beryllium, the outermost shell is full-filled, but boron, there is one more electron than the full-filled state. So boron easily released electron than beryllium. That's why the ionization energy of beryllium is more than boron. Come to nitrogen and oxygen. You have seen here that the outermost shell of nitrogen is half-filled because it is 2p3. And oxygen 1 electron more than half-filled state. So nitrogen does not easily release electron like oxygen, because if oxygen release 1 electron, then it gains the structure of nitrogen, that means half-filled state. That's why oxygen easily released electron than nitrogen. So what is the order of ionization energy? The order of ionization energy will be like this. That means the ionization energy will be like this. So the ionization energy of the element of second period is lithium is less than boron, is less than beryllium, is less than carbon, then oxygen, then nitrogen, then fluorine. So students, this is our second question. So our fourth question is, are CCl4 and silicon tetrafluoride react same with water? To discuss the question, first of all, we must discuss about the electronic configuration of carbon and silicon. So the electronic configuration of carbon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, and the silicon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p2. You know, in second shell there is no d orbital because 2d orbital is totally impossible. But in third shell there is d orbital. For the presence of this d orbital, silicon can use this d orbital to accept electron, lone pair, to accept one pair electron from water. That means it easily form bond with the hydroxyl group of water by using this d orbital. But as carbon there is no d orbital, so it can't form this type of covalent bond, covalent coordinate bond with the water molecule. That's why it does not react with water. So to discuss it with you, I discuss it with you by taking the reaction between silicon tetrachloride and water. The bond between silicon tetrachloride is the structure of silicon tetrachloride is like that. Silicon tetrachloride. When it reacts with water, then here it receives electron from OH group of water by coordinate bond. By coordinate bond. That means here silicon receives, here you have seen silicon receives 4 pair of electron from the OH group of water. This happens only for the presence of d orbital in the last shell of silicon. As silicon, the electrons presence in silicon, the last shell of silicon is third shell, and in third shell, you know, d orbital is present. For the presence of d orbital, silicon can receive electron from OH group of water, and that's why it easily reacts with water. That means the reaction will be like that. When silicon tetrachloride reacts with water, then it forms this compound and plus HCl. But as carbon, the last electron present in second shell, and in second shell there is no d orbital, so it cannot react with water, as it does not receive electron from OH group of water by coordinate bond. I think all of you are clear about these two creative questions. So students, best of luck for your exam, and no more today.